I got 5:30. Can we call the meeting to order? Is there a meeting?
Did we want to wait a few more moments or get started?
You're in charge, Christy.
Oh, no.
Have a quorum?
Yes.
We can get started. It's 5:30.
Thank you, Tricia. I miss your smile, Tricia.
Thank you, sir. Likewise. So do we have, do you want to go over the agenda?
Sure. Can somebody pop it up since we already called the meeting in order, and then we can run through what are we doing? We're
Okay.
verifying the minute meetings and
We have the public hearing portion.
Public comment?
Public comment, sorry.
Yeah, public comments.
Can somebody pop up the thing, or do you want me to try and find the agenda from an email?
There you go.
Can you see that?
Yep. Even with my bad eyes, I can still see that. Okay, so we called it in order, and you want me to go ahead and do I read all this?
Yes, please.
Okay, public comment. Citizens who desire to address the city council, board, and/or commission with regard to matters on the agenda will be read and/or received at this time. Members of the public desiring to make comments during this portion of the meeting will be allowed to submit their comments as outlined above to the office of the city secretary. CitySec at sugarlandtx.gov. Written to emailed comments and/or requests to participate during this portion of the meeting must be received by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. The City of Sugar Land reserves the right to remove any written/emailed comments deemed inappropriate as outlined above and or not related to matters posted on the agenda. Comments or discussion with the City Council, Board, and or Commission members will only be made at the time the subject is scheduled for consideration. So do we have any public comment?
No, sir, we did not.
Okay, then I guess we can move on to item number 4, orientation, review and discussion on purpose, roles, responsibility, and function of the Building Standards Commission. Mr. Shavers.
Yes, sir. Next slide, please. Thank you. Commission's authority is given by state law, Chapter 54, Local Government Code, the City of Sugar Land Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 3, Section 253, Boards and Commissions. Next slide, please. This board is a quasi-judicial body that hears evidence and receives testimony, issues orders similar in nature to a court. Decisions only appeal to state district court, no appeal to city council. And the zoning board of adjustment is the only other city body that's a quasi-judicial body. Next slide, please. The commission members, they're appointed by the city council, 7-member board with 3 alternates, should have experience and or training in building construction and property maintenance. City council appoints the chair and the vice chair. Next slide, please. We always have to have a quorum to have a legal commission meeting. And that's the majority of the commission, which would be 4, you always have 4, shall constitute a quorum. Members present. Come back. Someone say something? Okay. Members present required to vote on each item unless you have a conflict of interest. Attendance is expected to attend most meetings Absences shall be reported to the city secretary and staff liaison prior to the hearing date. Members missing 3 consecutive meetings is deemed to have automatically resigned. And if anyone, I can verify our staff liaison is Stacy Smith. That's who you all have been getting your correspondence from. Alternates will serve in the absence of regular members and on a rotating basis. Next slide, please. Annual training. The annual training is the Building Standards Commission's orientation, the Open Meetings Act training online through the Attorney General's website, the ethics training given by the City Attorney's Office, and I believe all commissioners have had the ethics training by the City Attorney's Office already. Executive sessions to receive legal advice from the City Attorney regarding matter on the agenda. No final action, decision, or vote during closed meetings. Communication is privileged and should not be discussed outside the executive session with public, commission, or media. City Secretary will document by a certified agenda. Next slide, please. Conflicts. Members must abstain from discussing and voting on a matter before the commission when the member or alternate has a conflict of interest under state law or city ordinance, believes that he or she cannot render a fair and impartial decision in only matter because of personal circumstances. Members or alternates with a conflict of interest must inform the city secretary of the conflict prior to the start of the meeting and file the conflict of interest affidavit. Next slide, please. Commission duties. Hear and decide appeals of the determinations made by the city staff in the application or enforcement of building codes. Adjudicate unsafe structures cases arising under dangerous building regulations. Hear appeals regarding the denial or revocation of a residential rental license. Hear appeals of administrative decisions regarding the city's building codes. Authorize variances from the terms of any building code adopted by the city. Next slide. Dangerous buildings. This is the area that governs the dangerous buildings by the city. Commission's authority and duties outlined in the Dangerous Building Ordinance. Chapter 3. Yes, we just couldn't see it for the pictures there. Article 12 of the Code of Ordinances. Section 3-191. All dangerous buildings are declared to be public nuisances and must be vacated, secured, repaired, or demolished. Section 3-193 provides standards for when a property is to be ordered repaired. If less than 50% of the structure must be repaired or value reduced, or less than 50% of violations, vacated and secured. Condition make it hazardous to health, safety, or general welfare of occupants or public, or demolished if more than 50% of the building is damaged or decayed or deteriorated and building cannot be repaired. Section 3-194 is the minimum standards for continued use or occupancy of a building or in the International Property Maintenance Code. Next slide, please. A building is deemed dangerous, and there is 9 criteria here. A wall or other vertical member lifts, leans, or buckles to an extent that a plumb line passes through the center or gravity falls outside the middle third of its base. Exclusive of foundation, more than 33% damage or deterioration to structural components or 50% damage to non-structural components. Improperly distributed load upon the floor or roof, overloaded roof or floor or roof with its insufficient strength to be reasonably safe for purpose used, damaged by fire, wind, or other causes so as to be dangerous to life, safety, morals, health, or welfare of the occupants or the public. Next slide. Dilapidation or decay or unsafe or unsanitary conditions, inadequate light, air, or sanitation facilities to protect health, safety, or general welfare of human occupying the premises. Inadequate facilities for egress in case of fire or panic, or insufficient stairways, elevators, or fire escapes. If more than 2 code violations or a single violation posing an imminent threat to life or property, or unsecured from unauthorized entry and utilized by vagrants or children. Next, please. Building boarded up, fenced, or secured may be deemed dangerous if the following: building constitutes a danger to public or even though secured from entry, or means utilized to secure the building is not adequate to prevent authorized entry to the building. Next slide. Summary of the hearing process. Step 1. Staff gathers evidence about condition of structure or seeks voluntary compliance from property owner. Step 2. Staff provides notice of the Building Standards Commission hearing to property owner, lien holder, and mortgagee if applicable. Step 3. The commission hears evidence from staff, property owner, lien holder, and mortgagee. Step 4. Commissioner uses order requiring structures to be vacated, secured, repaired, or demolished. Next slide, please. Hearing process continued. Upon the commencement of the public hearing, all speakers who will potentially give testimony must be sworn in. In the course of the public hearing, all speakers will address the commission from the podium, state their name and address, and present their evidence. Any speaker wishing to ask questions of staff, the commission, or other speakers must direct their questions to the chair, who may, as he deems appropriate, direct the question to the appropriate party. Staff presents detailed information to the Building Standards Commission regarding property conditions, code requirements, compliance status, and recommends actions. Next slide, please. Owner or representative given the opportunity to speak and provide additional details. When all speakers have completed their testimony, the chair will open the public hearing. Once the public hearing is closed, no further testimony from the public will be taken. The board will discuss the item presented and make findings or issue an order regarding the property. Members desiring to speak or ask questions must be recognized by the chair. Determine which, if any, the non-qualifying conditions exist at the property. Next slide, please. The board discussion and decision. The board discussion and questions are limited to its items only related to the regulation of dangerous buildings, appeals, and variances. Only evidence or testimony provided during the staff presentation or public hearing or testimony may be taken into consideration. Focus of discussion should be on property conditions, requirements for compliance, and owner proposed compliance schedule. Important to refrain from questions related to personal finances, plans for property not related to current order, etc. Next slide, please. Commission findings and order. Make findings and or issue an order to the owner, mortgagee, lien holder, or applicant. Provide frames for compliance for each necessary repair and action. Vote utilizing Novus Agenda software. All members must vote. Order may be filed in the Fort Bend County property records, dependent on the case. Copies of findings or orders are provided to the owner, mortgagee, lien holder, or applicant, and notices to the commission's orders are printed in local newspaper. Next slide, please. These are examples. Unsafe structure is on your left. Fire damage will be on your right. Next slide, please. Unsafe structure. The unsafe structure is the pink looking house. That's because the tarp is on the roof, dilapidated. If you can look closer, you can see the chimney is separating itself from the exterior wall of this home on the right-hand side. Next slide, please. Unsafe structure, unsanitary condition. This is a condition inside one of the homes here in Sugar Land. Next slide, please. Program requires this rental licensing program. And at the end of my presentation, you all will have, if you all have any questions about rental program, we do have our ENS division, Environmental Services, Neighborhood Services, who can answer any question you have about the rental program. Program requires all rental properties to be licensed by the city if offered for rent. Exterior inspections conducted annually to ensure maintenance standards are met. Interior inspections conducted with change in occupancy requested by the tenant or exterior violation indicates potential for critical life safety interior violation. Staff may refuse to issue or revoke a current license if life safety or critical violations identified at the property. Staff notifies property owner in writing of denial or revocation. Owner may appeal determination to the Building Standards Commission, and hearing must be held within 20 business days after appeal is properly filed. Next slide, please. Electrical wiring violation. This was a rental home. As you can see, the light fixture is not properly wired, nor is the wire properly secured. Next slide, please. Pool enclosure violation. And I explained this, and it's supposed to be a self-latching gate. That's not a proper latch with that rope hanging down as being the latching mechanism or releasing mechanism. Next slide, please. The owner may appeal a decision or determination made by the building official for any of the following. The building official rejected or refused to approve manner of construction or materials to be used in installation or alteration of a building, structure, or service system. Provisions of the code do not apply to the case. Another one would be equally good or better form of construction is proposed. Or another one could be a true intent and meaning of code has been misconstrued or incorrectly interpreted. Consideration of variance justified when enforcement of building codes creates injustice or is contrary to the spirit or purpose of codes, technical requirements, or best interest of the public. Next slide, please. The city staff who are on this call and this meeting: City Secretary's Office, Tricia Dang, Assistant City Secretary; Planning and Development Services, Lisa Kochik-Meyer, the Director of Planning and Development Services; myself, Deputy Building Official; Stacy Smith, Administrative Manager; Environmental and Neighborhood Services, Stacy Henderson, the Director of this division; Nicole Solis, our Assistant Director; and Anita Green, our Code Compliance Manager. Next slide, please. Q&A. Any questions of any commissioners? Here's your time to formulate those questions to us.
So, hello, this is David James. I've got a brief question, if I may.
Hello, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, so obviously new to this. So just one point of clarification. So really the remit or scope of this commission is really for existing structures. It does not really get involved with any new structures being built or any codes or anything like that that are raised from inspections. Is that a correct understanding?
No. The only time it could be for a new structure if there's some type of building material that contractor wants to use, and there's a conflict with the code, then and the building official makes a determination that's contrary to what the contractor wants to utilize, that could come before you.
Okay, but I thought that was in the context of being added to an existing structure, or that was my understanding when I read that one part. So,
yeah, it's mostly existing structures, but that's the only time that you would have something from a new construction to come before you if there's a code interpretation or if there's a building material they would like to utilize. Yes.
Okay, so someone's adding on to an existing structure, right, and then there was some discussion on that, but it's not Smart Financial Center being built and any issues coming out of that. That is not the remit of this commission, right?
Normally, no. You are correct on that.
Okay, so it's just main existing structures and
yes,
any brownfield work as a result of that. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm
Yes,
asked a
sir.
question, so I have a question. This is a very useful document you went through. Will this PowerPoint be available for us to reference as we look at any cases?
City Secretary's office. That'd
Okay.
be a question for one of you to answer.
All right. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Shavers, I'll chime in as we go
Go ahead.
through the meetings, and these are presented. This is a sheet that the assistant, the lawyer, will give us to go through as a checklist. So we do have this on each of the properties that we do review.
Thank you. That works.
Okay, quick question regarding COVID. With the COVID situation, is these reviews happening virtually or face to face in City Hall?
That's a good question. If we have a case coming up that will come up, I believe that we may be utilizing our Zoom platform.
Okay,
COVID. Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
As long as the governor allows us to.
Thank you.
There's exemption right at this point.
Okay,
But once that order expires, then we have to resume in-person hearing.
We have to. We get
Once
to.
the governor right now, he had basically allows for this due to the pandemic, but
Yes.
technically all our meetings supposed to be done in person for the public to have access to. So one quick question, going back to the training aspect of it, have you all received the link to do your Open Meetings Act training from the city secretary through the Attorney General's website?
I have not.
I am not either. Me neither.
Nor have I.
Okay. We'll get that sent out to you all to complete that. It's a requirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for raising that. I was going to ask about that. Also, just obviously being new, as I mentioned, the role of the alternate, is it expected alternates attend the meetings, or is it more we're notified in some type of rotating order to attend type thing? So I guess what's the expectation in attendance, and how does that notification, and how do you know you're sitting in type thing?
Well, you'll be notified the same way as all the sitting members. And yes, we encourage the alternates to attend also.
Thank you.
I had instances where a commissioner at the last minute was not able to make it, and the alternates had to be. Also, you'll see the process. Also, if you're sitting in the audience and watching the full board go through the process. That way, when it's your turn to see, you'll know all the protocol. So it helps you as far as goes. And all the commissioners, even the alternates, get notified of a hearing, and you get all the proper work and notification as everybody else.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and you get paid double, David.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll be sure to give you a bank account, put a deposit in. No, that's no problem, and so that's fine. We normally plan to do that, but again, just understanding the role here. So, okay.
Yeah, we treat the alternates as full members as well.
Frankly, David, sometimes you show up as an alternate. Sometimes you get pulled from the audience saying, "Okay, you're on. Go."
Okay.
Go. Yeah. So, and we do not meet all the time, so it's.
Yeah. I'll put me in, coach, ready to play. So yeah, just let me know.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Mr. Shavers, for your presentation. Do we have any other questions? And if not, if somebody can pop up the agenda, and we'll carry forward. Whoever was in charge of that. Minutes, consideration of and action of the minutes of the March 11th, 2020 meeting. Mr. Harris, City Secretary, is he available?
He's not. He's just asked for a motion to approve.
Okay, so I'm going to take it that everyone was able to read it, and do we have a motion to approve?
Yes.
Sanjay,
Yeah.
motion to
I'll
approve. Do we
second.
have a second? From
I'll
Mr.
second.
From Mel Lusky. All in favor, raise your hand, I guess.
Yay.
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Motion passes. Next item. Somebody.
That was the last item.
Anything else? Was there? Was
That
that
was
it? Okay. So do we have, since this is our orientation, do we have any other questions from anybody else? And we can talk bad about Alyssa since she can't talk back. So, so she's not figured out how to get in yet. They're protesting. Anyway, sorry. I'm sure this is a tape meeting. If there is no other questions, then I will take a motion to adjourn from somebody.
Motion to adjourn by Vinash.
From Avinash. Do we have a second? Alyssa's second. Very nice. All in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take that. That's a positive.
Yay.
So what else do we have? Whoever's running this thing, whether it be Trisha or Lisa. Anything else for
That's
now?
all we have. That's it. Thank
Very
you.
good. We appreciate you
Happy
all.
New Year.
And wine is on Mr. Shavers at the Flying Saucer. Will be there in a moment.
Thank you all.
Good night,
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
All right.
Good night.
Year.
Have a good day.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Lisa.